Third up on this first session, I'd like to introduce Dr. Anna Chlingaryan. Anna, I hope I haven't made a hash of your surname. My apologies if I have. So Anna is from the University of Sydney, and she's here to present to us on her work around artificial intelligence, not the other AI, and heat stress. Anna, welcome.
I'm a little bit shorter. So, okay, hi everyone. I'm Anna. Thank you for introducing me. So, I'm data scientist, and I have been with University of Sydney for last 14 years. But the last 4 years, my research has been dedicated to this question when I joined the area program. It's can data and artificial intelligence enable sustainable dairy farming in the current warming world? Yep. Why heat stress? So of course, because it has two impacts, economic impact and of course, animal welfare. By economic, we understand, of course, reduced milk yield, lower reproductive performance, and from animal welfare, it's lots of impacts here, behavioral changes, elevated body temperature, and so on. So, but currently we are very lucky because there is lots of data available. So we have milk yield data through automating milking systems at herd level and individual level of each animal. We have through smokestack, we have lots of reticle rumen temperature, sorry, this terminology. And of course, behavioral information from cow manager data and satellite climate data across entire Australia. So the question that we ask ourselves is how this old data can support our farmers nowadays. Um, and I will try to go through, take you with me through my journey. So I joined Dairy Up in 2021, and there is when I first heard about this phenomena, heat stress. So here, when we published this paper, a deep learning model to forecast cattle heat stress. So, and then we were working with Cameron Clark and our very bright undergraduate student, Nicholas Chapman. So, and then when our PhD student, and now she's a doctor, Dr. Alice Shirley, she's present now. So when she joined Dairy Up program, so, and we started to do her PhD research. So first of all, we noticed that there is a difference, like understanding of these four terminology. That's why we published this review paper to understand and to separate these four terminologies to start with her work. So the first question that we ask ourselves is, okay, we have this reticle rumen temperature. Is there variability in drinking behavior between pasture-based dairy cattle? We published again paper, and what we have done, we were able to detect drinking events using only reticle rumen temperature. Every drop of temperature here, you can see it's a drinking event. So, and we validated this in drinking events against actual events that has been recorded via camera. And we got very high precision recall and F-score values. So then we had a look into mean number of drinking events per day over time. So here you can see from 2019, 2023, yes, different years. And different colors here corresponds to 3 different farms. And you can see that for green farm, let's call it green farm, farm number B, named B. So we see higher number of drinking events here. When we had a look into location of this farm, it's a northern farm where the temperature is warmer. That's why drinking events happens more frequently there, which is makes sense here with the reality. So, and we had a look into this seasonal effect. We have different number of drinking events per season as well. The next is the same farms, but we look into mean value of reticle rumen temperature drop over time. And again, the same green farm, we have a deeper deeper like drop of temperature, which means it's our assumption that probably because of volume of water that animal drinks, or probably because of the cold water and temperature of water itself. And again, a different summer, autumn, winter seasonal effect. Yeah. So the next question that we asked ourselves is, okay, we know about drinking events. Now look into variability between different animals. Yeah, how they respond to the heat stress. Uh, Here you see like a temperature deviation. It's a per individual animal, yes, altogether. And again, those three farms, and temperature deviation responds to THI. The main key message from here is, so y-axis, it's not just temperature, it's temperature deviation. And you can see zero line here. So we think that THI equals 70, equals 70 is the moment, is the threshold when industry needs to be get ready to start to apply some mitigation strategies to reduce impact of heat stress on animal itself. So when THI goes to 75, we already have decline of production. So milk yield starts to go down. And one point here that currently in research papers, the threshold is about 66 for THI. We suggest that decline starts at 75. Okay, so the next question, response of each individual animal to heat stress. Is there any variability? As you can see, there is a lot. Each line here is in one animal. So we see that response is a lot, and which is amazing, which is exactly what we are expected to see from animals. Yeah. So the next question, okay, when we understand this animal's response, their temperature, their variability, we ask, can producers use only one visible sign, for example, drinking frequency, of heat stress to indicate another heat stress indicators, to understand how we can use another one that is very hard to measure. For this, this is the first one where we look into the association between THI and ruticular environment temperature that I just talked about. The another one is, okay, if we have milk yield, how it responds to climate, how drinking frequency responds to THI, and the next step, when we remove climate itself, and we look into association between reticular rumen temperature and milk yield. Okay, if we can measure this reticular rumen temperature through boluses, how this can be used to identify milk yield response. And the last one, drinking event frequency to reticular rumen temperature. Of course, there is a very complex association between all these slopes and all these responses, but we tried, we tried to summarize it in this table. And this is the three main messages that we are getting from here, that drinking was a consistent behavior response to cope with internal and external heat. Second one, then animals that drank more during rising THI display declining reticular rumen temperature. And the last one, animals that drank more could maintain milk production under higher internal temperature. Okay, when we summarize this all, we moved into application of AI to this data to understand how AI can support us and can it provide more precise selection of these heat-tolerant animals. Again, this paper is published, and how we do this, we take climate data, we take milk yield data at individual level of animal, we look into the animal characteristics such as parity, days in milk, and so on, age, and so on. So, and then current approach that is used is statistical approach. We add AI on top of this approach. That's why we call this hybrid approach where we have statistical and artificial intelligence combined together. We call this, oh my goodness, I mix. Okay, we call this HAME, hybrid AI-based model, which showed us that we can, through this approach, achieve approved selection of heat-tolerant cattle. Why this plays with me? Okay, what is the message of this last work? If we look at this illustrative description of heat tolerance, so if we have two animals, cow A and cow B here, the blue and red one, so you see the slope, it's a decline of milk yield when animal starts to struggle. And we see interception here. It's initial milk that animal produces before heat stress happens. So these two traits, slope and intercepts, are very important. And currently, people use only slope for breeding values. But when we look into association between intercepts and slopes, we see negative association, which means that if we are after animals that not only heat tolerant but highly producing, it means that we need to select animals from this first quadrant where slopes and intercepts are positive. And the second point that, again, when we look, compare to each other this statistical current approach and the approach that we suggest, we propose, we have 84% agreement between these two models. Both models can select 84% of the same animals as a heat tolerant and highly producing animals. The next is that, however, if we look into the entire population, total population of these animals, each point here is actually one animal, yes. When we look into the entire population, and if we are only after heat tolerant, not highly producing animals, in that case, our approach removes 8% of animals that have been identified as a heat tolerant by current approach and substitute them by another set of 8% of animals. Why we think, how we know that our HAME model is more precise, is correct one, because we obtained smaller standard deviation of residuals that shows better performance of our model. Okay, so what I want you to take from this entire presentation is that data really can provide some insights about animal behavior and its response to heat stress. Second, that THI threshold 70 is when we think that, based on this data, when we think that the industry needs to be ready, to apply some mitigation strategies to improve this, to help animals. And the last one is happy animals, that AI can improve selection of heat tolerant animal, and this can be taken further for breeding value and genetics. I don't know if dairy bio, we think to pass this information to dairy bio and see how it works further. Thank you. Yeah, and of course, I want to say thank you to the entire Dairy Up program and for this opportunity to go through this research and to help our PhD students to finish their study. It's a great opportunity. Thank you, everyone, and for all sponsors and farmers and everyone. Thanks.
Thanks very much, Anna. Folks, we've got time for one question for Anna. Yes, gentleman in the front.
Yeah, Anna, when you're looking at the water intake of those animals, did you look at the antidiuretic hormone status of those animals as well?
No, we don't have any.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah. So we don't have any other additional information about animal. Unfortunately, we don't have information about volume of water they drank, about the quality of water, its temperature. We just have that data, and everything is based on that. But Alice is the right person to ask more questions, to be honest.
Terrific. We've probably got time for one more. Yes, question over there. Thanks, Andrew.
Yeah, thanks for that, Malcolm Home. So I noticed you hit rectal temperature and a number of others. Did you look at, I guess, I've forgotten the word now, respiration? Because I guess from a practical point of view, you know, it's pretty easy to work out respiration of an animal. And I was just curious as to why that wasn't used as a indicator.
Yeah, thank you for this question. Yeah, it's very important. Unfortunately, we had a piece of data where we had respiration rate, but from phenotype point of view, we couldn't use that data. So I hope we will have more data about the respiration rate and it can be included and used here. Yeah, but at this moment, no, sorry.
Folks, can you please, thanks very much, Anna. Can you please put your hands together for Anna?